Welcome to A Woman's Work, where we'll be exploring ways to go from surviving to thriving while balancing all the demands of womanhood in today's society. Hey guys, it's your host Samara James. Happy Sunday. I'm excited to be with you guys once again, sharing from my heart to yours. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about 7 things that I think all working women should consider outsourcing. So if you remember from my first episode, Third Sundays will always be focusing on working women. And when I say working women, I'm referring to basically all women, those of us who are stay-at-home moms, who work in our homes, those of us who work an outside job from inside our homes, those of us who work in an office, those of us who run businesses. All of us are constantly working. And as I mentioned in the first couple of episodes, it's so necessary if we want to feel content and happy to make space for practicing self-love. Keyword there is practice. It requires time and action. And I'll do another episode on ways that I practice self-love. And the other key to being content and happy is being able to be in the present moment, which requires a great deal of organization, of knowing what it is that you have to do well enough to be able to put it out of your mind and focus on what's going on in the present moment. As a single mom of 2 children, over the years, I've come up with, my own ways that I create that space. And a lot of that involves outsourcing. Getting other people to do things. Maybe it's not that I don't want to do them, but I understand the value of my time and how I need to invest it. And I understand that it's worth maybe paying someone or at least asking someone to do things for me. I had this idea, especially when my daughter was really young, that if I could do something, I should be doing it. I shouldn't be asking someone else to do it or, quote unquote, wasting money paying someone else to do it. And as a result, I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. I was trying to do it all. And it didn't even occur to me to ask for help. And when it did, it just seemed like too much. Like either it was going to cost me some money or, I felt like I was being a burden to someone else. And it wasn't until recently that I realized, as I picked up all these things that I outsourced over the years, that I was practicing self-love, that I was designing my life so that I could achieve all the things that I was setting out to achieve. Automating all those things that I'm about to tell you about has changed my life. It really has. It's almost like I have a personal assistant. Really, all I've done is taking the time to sit down and look at the areas of my life that needed attention or where I needed help, come up with ways to outsource and or automate things. And I'm so grateful to myself for doing it because all these things are running like a well-oiled machine, and it's the foundation that allows me to achieve so much, to be present for my children, to be present at my job, to continually strive toward my long-term goals. And so as I share this list with you, think of ways in your own life. Maybe you won't choose to do all the things that I'm recommending, but think of ways in your own life that you can set a foundation, that you can automate and organize and set a foundation that allows you to focus on the things that you value most. The number one thing on the list of things I think all working women should consider outsourcing is housework, house cleaning. This is the one I struggled with for years and years. I was married at one point and I struggled with it along with my now ex-husband. He had this idea, the same idea that I had, that if we could do it, we should be doing it. But we both worked outside the home. And my daughter was young and our house was just always a mess, And as soon as that relationship was over, that's when I decided to go ahead and just at least try it out. Just try hiring a cleaning company to come in and clean out my house. I tell you what, the first time I walked into my home and it was sparkling and I hadn't spent my entire weekend doing it, I was hooked. I made the decision back then that no matter what I had to sacrifice, I was always going to budget money to have someone come and clean my house. And over the years, there's a few things that I've learned about it to help make it more affordable and less complicated. I was hiring out these big cleaning companies like, Molly Maids, those type of places, because they were insured and bonded and all that kind of stuff. And it was easy to find them. And I was spending a great deal on every cleaning, especially the initial cleaning. And it made it a strain to be able to afford. I found that asking neighbors and people that you trust and people whose homes you've been in, who it is that they have come clean their homes, is much better, because normally you can get a referral of a name of a person, and it's about half the cost to get it done. And it depends on your budget, depends on your lifestyle, how often you have someone come out. I have someone come out every 2 weeks, and that's just enough to keep my home looking great. I mean, it's also good for maintaining a home. If you let things build up over the years and, you never get, it's kind of like keeping your car clean. If you don't keep your car washed, you get all kinds of dents and scratches in the paint from the bugs and the dirt. It's the same thing with your home. If you don't really get down deep in there pretty often, your home can, begin to look shabby. And so it's an investment in that way too. But I have someone come out every 2 weeks, and there's nothing like coming home from work and walking into a spotless house and being able to just relax. That's the number one thing I think we should be investing in. And I don't think a lot of us, we have this idea, especially in American culture, that it's a luxury or it's frivolous to have someone come and help you clean your home. But if you're someone who's looking to reach any type of big goal, or you're looking to spend more time with your loved ones, it truly is an excellent investment. And it helps with your mental well-being too, to have a well-maintained home without having to constantly, be cleaning and scrubbing. And so, I mean, I could go on and on about the benefits of having someone come and clean your house. It's almost like people are ashamed to admit that they have someone do it. Don't be ashamed. I brag about it because I think it's such a wonderful way to show yourself some love. I mean, I know people who love to clean. That's not the majority of people, and someone has to do it. And I would do anything, I'd make sure I stay employed just so that I could have someone come and clean my space. The second thing that I think that all working women should consider outsourcing is at least one aspect of your beauty regimen. I personally, I'm a big hair person, and I've been growing my hair out without a relaxer for, since 2011, so 5 years. And I'm really good at doing my hair. I've always done my own hair, but it takes hours out of my day and week. And I looked over my budget and realized how much I was spending on hair products trying to do my own hair. And so I always considered finding a stylist, but it wasn't easy to do, and I didn't invest the time. And then I got pregnant with my son, and it was a difficult pregnancy, and I just didn't have the energy to do my own hair anymore. And so I found a stylist that takes great care of my hair. I don't have to touch it in between visits. It's just wonderful. And I thought that I would only be doing that while I was pregnant with my son. Well, he's about 3.5 months old now. And I do now, since I'm in a routine, have the time to do my own hair again. But I don't. Because there's something about driving up there, having this lady take care of everything in 2 hours, and not having to worry about my hair for a while until I have to visit her again. It's a small investment, but over time, I've spent less, paying her every few weeks to do my hair than I was spending on trying the newest hair product, or, and spending all this time having to devote a Saturday or a Sunday just to my hair, having to stay up half the night to do my hair. It's just simplified my life in so many ways to have this lady do my hair. And another thing that I outsource, and it's strictly because it feels good, is getting pedicures. getting pedicures, I'm addicted. I mean, I know all the greatest places in town to get your toes done. That's something that I do that just reminds me that I'm caring for myself, that I'm doing something just for me. It's the time that I take every couple weeks to just zone out and let somebody take care of me. And I think that's what a lot of this is about. As women, we take care of so much, and it can change your level of confidence, your level of happiness, to feel like someone else is taking care of you. And to be able to do that for myself, I mean, it's truly a blessing. And I just recommend choose whatever it is that you, whatever works for you. Maybe you go get a facial, or maybe, you have someone do your makeup for special events, just whatever it is. Just consider outsourcing that. You don't have to go on YouTube and do everything yourself. Pay somebody else to do a great job, skip the learning curve, and it feels great. The third thing I recommend that all working women consider outsourcing is childcare and pet care. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, it is excellent to set aside maybe one day a month, however often you choose, to have someone else just watch your kids, just to know it's coming and know that you're going to have that time to yourself, even if all you do is take a nap when you want to take a nap or do something uninterrupted. And for those of you who are pet parents, same thing. And what I found is that, especially as your children get older, this can be fun for both of you or all of you. My daughter loves to get time away from home. She loves the change of scenery, and I love the time that I get to myself. I've done everything. When I got pregnant with my daughter, and this is a hard one. I know so many people who don't live near anyone who can watch their kids for them, like family members or, even friends or parents. I relocated so that I could be near my parents when my daughter was born, because I understand, number one, that no one's going to watch your kids like your parents, depending on your situation. And I needed that, that flexibility to be able to have that support, even if it wasn't just watching her. Just the support of having family around is so important. But over the years, I've expanded that out, and I've also started using temporary daycare centers. There's daycare centers all over cities that in some cases are 24 hours, or they go late into the night, and you can drop your kid off just for a few hours and pay by the hour. When I first looked into this, the cost, it's not cheap. Childcare is not cheap if your family's not doing it. And it took me a long time to invest in this as well. But I found that when push came to shove, if I just needed some time to myself, these places were great. And for her, it wasn't like I was putting her off on someone. For her, it was a fun time, a fun time to play with other kids and to just, kind of be on her own as well. So if you have children or pets, I don't have pets, so I can't really speak on it, but I can imagine that it would be nice not to have to worry about your pet for a period of time. Really consider investing in childcare, even if you don't work outside the home. The next thing that I think we should all consider investing in is cooking. So I consider myself a very health conscious person. I don't label myself as a vegan or vegetarian or anything like that. I don't like labels, period. But I do consider myself a conscious eater. That's the one label that I'll accept when it comes to eating. And so I was spending all this money on all these elaborate recipes. I mean, I didn't grow up eating, all organic, or, I grew up on the basic garlic, onion, bell pepper, with pork chops, beans and cornbread type of food. And I was trying to change my eating habits, and I was spending all this money on all these fancy foods and ingredients. I mean, every trip to the grocery store, it seemed like I was spending $50 on each recipe. I decided to look into places that prepare meals for me. And when I looked at the cost compared to what I was spending at the grocery store, there wasn't that much difference. I wasn't paying much of a premium for convenience. So now I have my go-to places. I mean, a lot of the grocery stores now are preparing meals. All you have to do is pop them in the oven when you get home, and they're fresh, not frozen. And I have my spots all around town where I pick these things up. There's Snap Kitchen, Whole Foods, which I don't really recommend, but sometimes if I'm in there, I'll pick something up. And it's just made my life so much easier, and I haven't had to sacrifice quality or health in order to have those foods prepared in advance for me. And I haven't had to sacrifice much money either. So that's a big one. Depending on what type of diet you're following, it could be really easy to outsource your cooking. Now, I like to cook. I don't mind cooking at all. And when I have created the space and time, I can throw down and put together a very nice meal. But when it comes to the day-to-day, I don't put that pressure on myself to feel like I need to be in my kitchen preparing every meal. Now, what I will do is put in the effort to research and find out who is using quality ingredients to prepare meals in advance. And I'll invest in those companies and stores. The next thing that I think we should all consider outsourcing is reading. So I am a voracious reader. I have been since I was, in elementary school. I learned to read at 3 years old. I love reading. I love words. Not as much as I love math and science, but I do love to read. All of that changed when I went to college, and everything I read had to do with my major. And then I graduated from college and moved into the work world, and there just didn't seem to be enough time to read as much as I read when I was younger. And so over the years, I never stopped buying books. And so I've purchased all these books, and they've accumulated on my shelf. And I had a ton of books that I told myself I would read. They had bookmarks at page 20, page 100. None of them were finished. It just became really difficult for me to finish a book. And then I discovered Audible. And that's how I read the majority of my books now. The first thing I do if I hear about a book I'm interested in is look for it on Audible. If I can't find it on Audible, I may purchase it on Kindle. If I love it so much that I have to have it and I can't find it on Audible or Kindle, then I'll buy a hard copy. And what's happened is my book count has gone up exponentially. Whenever I have a free moment or, a moment where I don't have to focus my attention very much, like if I'm washing dishes or doing laundry or driving to work or taking a lunch break, I take an opportunity to listen to my books. There's a small membership fee with Audible. I actually don't remember off the top of my head what it is right now, but it's not much. And you get to choose one book every month that you don't have to pay for. It's paid for by your subscription. It's great. I mean, right now I think I've got maybe 50 books, and I just joined Audible. I think it's been a year and a half. I think I've got 50 books in my library, and all of them I have completed. And if there's a topic that I really want to focus on, there are ways to bookmark things and go back to topics and take notes. It's just been amazing to be able to do that. And the books, I don't read a whole lot of fiction. I read nonfiction mostly, things that will help me to reach my goals. And having Audible has been invaluable. So that's another thing I suggest that we all outsource. You can plug in some earphones and, read, quote unquote, a book while doing anything. Next on my list is making memories and photo books. You may not be as into scrapbooking and memory books as I am. And even if you're not, it's still really nice to have something to look back on your fondest memories. For me, I love scrapbooks. I love photo books. And I was having to set aside days and hours, and I still do occasionally, to capture those memories in an organized way. Then I discovered the online photo book companies like Shutterfly. I can't remember the name of some of the other ones, but now all I have to do is make sure that I have my pictures saved electronically. I can throw them in these books, and even if they're not perfectly organized, it's a nice thing to be able to have the books available to look back on or to show to guests and share your memories with other people. So I recommend, just, throwing that in there. Even if you're not a picture person, even if you're not someone who is really overly concerned with photos and keeping memories, it's just a nice thing to be able to do. The next thing on the list is shopping, especially grocery shopping. I personally am an Amazon addict, and I recently got a membership at Costco, which is rivaling my Amazon Prime membership in terms of cost and convenience. With Amazon, if you choose to go that route, they have pretty much everything. The only thing I have left to buy in the grocery store are perishables like milk and eggs. Everything else I can get on Amazon or at Costco. But with Amazon, you have to have a membership and you have to do the, what is it called? Subscribe and save, to where you have to determine how often you need things, get them shipped on a regular basis, and then you get the discount. Well, Costco has it so that you can order their products online and their products compare with Amazon subscribe and save prices, and you can have things shipped to your home with no shipping costs. So I recommend, instead of spending, before I had these memberships, I was in the grocery store at least 3 times a week, because I don't like to eat processed food, and I don't like to buy things too far in advance because they tend to go to waste. Now I can just order things as I need them. I've started, freezing a lot of my fresh things that I use later. It's just made life a whole lot easier to buy things in bulk and at discount and order them and have them delivered to my door rather than going to the store. When it comes to clothes and shoes, I don't shop online because I can go a bit overboard, and I like to, set aside time to actually go and do that. But as far as groceries and household items that we need and use on a regular basis, all of that is done online now. And I have a list of things that I've written out that I need on a regular basis. I have an app that keeps track of when I'm running low on things. So that whole process has been automated. And I'm also saving money at the same time by planning these things out in advance and ordering them online. It saves me from being in the store, being tempted by samples, being tempted by my eyes. It's just a whole lot easier. So just to recap, the things I think we should all look into as far as outsourcing, and there's more, but I'm limiting it to 7 for today, are house cleaning, a beauty regimen or part of your beauty regimen, whether it's getting your hair or nails done, childcare and pet care, cooking, making memories and photo books, reading, and grocery shopping. All these things combined, having them almost completely outsourced, costs me about $250 a month. Some of them don't cost anything extra, depending on how I have them set up. So for $250 extra a month, I am able to breathe and feel happy, which is priceless. I am able to have a schedule as a single parent of 2 children that allows me time to focus on myself, practice self-love, practice mindfulness, and just smile and be happy. At the end of the day, all that matters is who's having the most fun. So even if I had to rearrange things, even if I had to, get a car with a smaller car note or whatever I had to do, now these things are so invaluable to me that I'd be willing to do whatever it took to create that space for myself. Just knowing, and that's part of, being a single parent. Sometimes you feel like you've got to do it all yourself. And we don't. We live in community, whether we want to or not. And there are all these resources available to us. And you may be able to get all this stuff done. We're all creative. We're all able to think and strategize. And you may be able to get all of your outsourcing done without spending a dime. At the end of it, you may be able to save money. But the thing we have to get past as women, I think, is that we should be doing everything that we could be doing. That's the first hurdle. And that's really what this episode is about. Stop and think about what you're doing that you don't necessarily need to do. Even if you enjoy doing it, Consider whether or not you've created enough space in your life to practice self-love and to feel calm and centered. Look at every area of life, design it so that it works for you. That's what all this is about. I hope that this episode helped you guys. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about, if you want more detail, more information, some recommendations, please feel free to reach out to me at samara.james@gmail.com. That's SIMARA.james@gmail.com. And I'll talk to you guys next week.